So, hey everybody, hi, you back here with Master Matriarch Canines. I'm John Pam and I am the Master Matriarch. I've been training dogs since 1969. And I am here with one of my previous clients and now my very dear friend, Matt. And he is here to tell you a little bit about how he met me and what his experience was with me regarding working with his dogs and himself, and whatever other information that he would be comfortable sharing. Matt, you take it on. So, when did you first learn about me?
Oh, probably about a year and a half ago, maybe a little more. What happened was I pulled into Malama's and I saw all these dogs just sitting outside quietly and everything. And then I looked around and I saw your placard on your vehicle. Went over and gentleman in there, I asked about it. He says, "Oh yeah, she's a dog trainer." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I went in and I did my stuff and took your number down and called up and you came over. I only had the one dog, Amber, at the time. And she was pretty good, but she just needed direction, and you were able to very quickly, after just a few sessions, she followed on the leash. She would sit when I stopped. Comes most of the time when I call, but you know, dogs always test you. And then I got my second dog that you introduced me to, Pearl, a whippet that's full of energy and never wants to stop moving, except when she sleeps or eats. But now she'll walk pretty calmly on the leash. I just have to give her little reminders. You know, we've worked through the e-collars for recall and the choke collar, not for choking them, but just it just sits there and
Actually,
it's
a prong
very
collar.
or prong collar.
It's a prong collar, right?
Prong collar. Just reminds them, not even having to pull on it or anything, just a light tap on the leash. It's like, oh, that's right, I need to do this, and it's just when I have to kind of like do a little reinforcement of the behaviors when I don't do it on a regular basis.
You mean you're human,
Yeah.
and you have human things to do.
So,
Could you tell us a little bit about Amber?
Amber, she was a pound dog from the Humane Society. Went in, my partner and I, and found her, and when we first went in walking, she sat there, all these dogs are barking around her. She just sat there and looked at us like, "You're going to be mine." And we went down the line and we came back and she just still sat there and, you know, went down and she came up when we put our fingers through the fence and everything, and that's how we got her. And she came home and fitted in pretty quick. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, now she runs the house. Like all dogs do.
That's what dogs tend to do.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about the training techniques that was used and how you felt about them when you were introduced to them?
Yeah, well, when you first came in, she was a big jumper. She still likes to jump, but not nearly as much. Much more under control. We actually sat and talked a while. She got to know you, and then we went outside because I live on a dead-end street, which is nice. So there's not a lot of traffic, and we worked with the walking and everything, and what to do and when to stop and all the signals, and she picked up on it really quick. And that was the first visit, and you said make sure both of us do this for the training. Of course, my other half, he doesn't do much of it. He depends on me to be the enforcer. But no, when I walk her, I still have her stop and she'll sit, and I'll say, you know, stay or wait, depends on what's going on. And I'll count sometimes 20, 30 in my head, and she just waits there, and then I'll say okay, and we start walking again. And Pearl's doing that more and more now too. She's getting able to calm herself quicker, but she loves to pull at the leash, and I'll give her a reminder, and then I'll have her come closer to me and then sit, and then she's calm again. So, and you came back for a couple visits, and I think after 3 or 4 visits, became more of, oh, how's everything doing, and the friendship built from there. And
Well, when we first met and we started working together, I introduced you to the tools, the prong collar and the e-collar. What was your feelings behind that initially when I introduced them to you, and were you okay with the way I explained how we worked on it, or could you give us a little info about that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I knew about the prong collar. I didn't know how it was used properly, but I never had one on any of my previous dogs anyway, so you explained how that's used for reinforcing training and everything like that. And then the e-collar, when you explained it about using just the vibration and the sound for, to vibrate to remind them to get back onto focus, and the beep for like recall, because it goes so far and they might not hear you calling their name. And with the electric zap, that's always turned off. I've never had to use that. And I don't, and very, as you said, very, very rare or extreme reasons would you even use a low zap. So it's always just the vibration or the beep and that. And the beeper works. I mean, the first time we went out to the park in Nanavali and introducing Pearl to Amber, and Amber went way off, and I went beep beep, and she came right back. So that really works well. Don't have to scream your head off.
So how do you feel? What was your previous understanding of the way e-collars were used? A lot of people are afraid of them because they think it's all about hurting your dog. What is your feelings about that?
Well, I really didn't know what an e-collar was, because I don't know how long they've been around, but I've never had to experience with one, because most of my training of my dogs were sit, come, stay. Very simple, basic things and that. So, but having the e-collar and knowing how to use it properly really helped with the training and the behaviors. So it's like if I have the e-collar on, I can let the dog go wander, and I'll go beep beep, and they'll come right back, which is good inside the house, or in the, because I have the fenced yard. They love to go out there and run around and play, because I know it's a contained area. I just have to give a specific whistle, and they'll come back. But if we're out going somewhere, I have the e-collar on in case they get loose. And, they might lose sight of me, or I might lose sight of them, and I can beep them, and they'll come back. They'll go, okay, where are we? Where do I go?
So would you say that the proper use of an e-collar is a good thing?
Oh, very good thing. Very good thing. I mean, it's more for just gently reminding with either a sound or a vibration. And that, because I've held it and I click it, it's like nothing much, doesn't hurt. It's more of the, like if you whistle or something like that, it gets their attention. That's all it is. That's what it's good for, if you use it the right way.
Yeah, I emphasize that in a lot of my videos. I have a lot of videos out regarding the proper use of an e-collar. Although it's different when I'm saying it, and then I actually have a client that has experience with this, have them talk about what their experience was. And when I am trying to convey to my audience, there's still a lot of people out there that I apologize for my phone beeping, guys. It's really close to the mic. Please forgive that. But a lot of people out there are still really afraid of using e-collars, and for good reason, because no one has taught them how to properly use one, the proper placement. Mm-hmm. You just don't put it on the dog. There's a proper way of placing the e-collar. You don't just start punching buttons and zapping a dog. It's not about that, is it?
No. Oh, no. You have to fit it right, just so it's snug but not tight digging into them, because they need to be able to feel the vibration and everything. And it's like it's up around on the upper neck, and I always make sure 2 fingers go through. Same thing with the prong collar. 2 fingers fit underneath it, so I know it's there, but it's not hurting them. I've had my dogs, they just lay down with the prong collar on and go to sleep. So obviously it's not hurting or uncomfortable for them. And that, so because sometimes we'll be doing something and we'll get home and I'll forget to take the prong collar off. It's like, oh, you're asleep, I'm not going to bother you right now. And then when they get up, I'll take it off.
Okay, regarding the prong collar, this is something most people don't understand about them. Prong collars come in different sizes for the prongs. What was my advice to you regarding the size of the prongs?
Well, it's all based on the size of the dog and their neck also. I mean, Pearl is a very thin dog. She's only 45 pounds at the most. So I use the small prongs. Amber's considered a large dog. She's about 80 pounds. So they're a little larger, but I also made sure that I had the ones that have the little plastic covers. So I know that they're not going to get scratched or dig in if they happen to, dig at it, or they get, if they're forget and they lunge out while we're walking, it's not going to dig into their throats and break the skin.
So am I understanding correctly that essentially what the take on all of this is that you find prong collars to be a beneficial tool if you use it correctly?
Oh, definitely, especially when you're first learning to walk and have them sit and wait. It's just you can just tap and they know, they just feel it. It's not hard. It's just kind of like going like that to your face. I mean, when it's on their neck, just so they can feel a little bit and they know, oh, I should sit now because he's not walking anymore. And then they sit and wait, and then I say okay when we start walking again, and they sniff around, and I'll say, I don't even tell them to sit. I just gently hold the collar while they walk, and then they'll go, oh, and they'll step back and they'll sit down. So I don't have to even say anything because they know what they're expected to do. And then I praise them, of course, after.
Of course. I think, if I remember correctly, I also helped you with learning how to properly hold the leash.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So that it's loose in my hand. I actually have the loop in the other hand. So I can I actually guide basically with one or two fingers most of the time with the dogs. Just so that I can give that little tap up or tap down, where my finger is, just to give them, oh, okay. It's the reminder. Even with the regular collar, when I don't have the prong or the e-collar on, I do the same thing, and they understand.
It sounds as though your whole experience with learning how to work with me was actually very gentle for your dogs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they love when you come over. They remember you.
Yeah, they're rather exuberant when I come over.
Oh, yeah, we work with them.
Happy.
We get them calmed down fairly quick, a lot faster than when you first were coming. So, and they understand. It's like, no, and I'll hold the collar and I'll tell them sit. And I'll say calm in a calm voice, and after a minute or so they calm down, and then I can let them go and they come up and they're not jumping at you.
They're high energy puppers, and I am so...
Yeah, especially Pearl being a whippet. I mean...
Oh, yeah, very high energy. Very high energy. Is there anything else you would like to add? I don't want to... I know you've got a busy schedule, and I appreciate you being here. Anything else you would like to add to this? What is we've become friends now, and I'll give you a quickie. What is it like when you come in the door with my dogs?
Oh, well, when I first came here, they would mob me. Now, if they start coming in, I tell them very firmly, stop. Or actually, I'll say enough, because that's the word that they know I use, and put my hand across and they'll stop. And then I'll wait a bit, and sometimes I'll tell them to sit, or sometimes I'll point to one and tell them to come to me. But you have to be firm with them, but you have to give it with love, really. You have to respect them, and they'll respect you. So, I mean, just like, I don't know where Peaches went, but, she's over there. But the other dogs now, you had a few toughies, and you've worked with them, and when I come in, I use the same commands and the right tone of voice, and like Odie, who would have ripped anybody's face off when they came in, now all he wants to do is give me kisses and get his back rubbed and his tummy rubbed, but when I tell him to stop and go to bed and sit, he does. And if he doesn't, then I will take the collar and give a gentle tug, and he sits, and I praise him. And today he had knocked the food bowl over, and he used to guard his food, but he started eating. I was just picking it up, putting it in there, saying, "Oh, good Odie," because he would never have allowed that at one time. So, I've learned, watch for the signs that the dog doesn't know what they're doing or that they're getting scared. And if you respect that and you take that step back and let them know that you're not going to do anything until they're ready, it works well.
Well, it sounds like your experience all overall has been a really good one. And folks, later on we became friends, and I have to say, if you ever become friends with this man, you will never ever regret it. I here in Hawaii we have a term called hanai, and he is hanai to me, and that basically means somebody that is not blood. You bring them in as family, so now I look more at him as my little brother, the little brother I never had. He is just the most amazing person, and as a client, he was incredible. He's one of these wonderful people that actually follows exact directions, and he listens, and he knows what to look for, and he reads the dogs very, very well.
Oh, yeah.
Matt, thank you so much for being here,
you're
and I
welcome.
so much appreciate the time that you've taken. So we're going to go ahead and close this up for now.
All right.
And again, guys, thanks so much for joining us here at Master Matriarch Canines. And until next time, remember, if you don't train them to do the right thing, I promise you, you are training them to do the wrong ones. Till the next time, aloha from Hawaii.